Hello, Funny.
Hello, June, and
How
hello,
are you
viewers.
doing? Hello, everyone. Yes,
Yes.
so Funny. What are we discussing today?
So, in the last video,
What do you have in your mind?
we
Huh?
had discussed about Bloom's taxonomy, which is a very useful
Yes,
tool for the teachers to
yes,
get their students from lower order to higher order thinking skills. And
absolutely,
today,
absolutely.
I have a
Mm-hmm,
correlated question to that. So, there are different kinds of learners in my classroom. Some people are very
mm-hmm,
uh, intelligent or very passionate towards sports, and some are towards academics, and some are
mm-hmm,
towards music, some towards um, linguistics, some towards writing and reading poems, etc. So there are different kinds of learners in
mm-hmm.
my class. So what is this actually? I mean, do these learners have different kinds of intelligences in their minds, or they are born with some gifted talents?
Yes, absolutely, you are correct. So, this is about all the different intelligences we all have. However, it is not possible that a human being will have all the intelligences together. Earlier in the past, we would only refer to one kind of intelligence, which is the general intelligence, like how much you are scoring in your academics and what are your academic performances throughout the year. And based on that, society would say, oh, how intelligent you are. However, thanks to Howard Gardner, as he came up with this theory of multiple
Yes.
intelligences, and this shows that it is not about generic intelligences, but we have multiple. To name a few, visual intelligence, spatial intelligence, linguistically, we are intelligent, logical, interpersonal, intrapersonal. So all that definitely matters. Okay. So to
Yes.
begin with, Funny, you see, using the different intelligences to teach a concept that allows each of the diverse learners that we have in our classrooms, okay? And it gives them a chance to succeed at learning. So, for example, the learner with a strength in visual as well as spatial intelligence will definitely do well with drawing and with puzzles. Therefore, teaching to students strength helps to increase the learning success. Okay,
So we are concentrating
and
on their strength rather than focusing on their weakness and embarrassing them.
well, I will not say weakness, but definitely yes, we are focusing on the intelligence that they have and where they've they are more comfortable in learning and they can learn faster. However, as I mentioned, it is not possible that everyone has all kind of intelligence. Now, that does not mean somebody who doesn't have a logical intelligence during the academic year, that student is exempted from doing mathematics or any other activities which requires the logical intelligence. Definitely the student will participate. However, what here we are trying to convey is that we must able to discover which intelligence actually the student is more comfortable with, so that the student gets an opportunity to learn with that intelligence. That doesn't mean that the student will not learn with the help of the other intelligence. I hope I'm clear,
Yes.
on that part.
Yes.
So some benefits, of using this multiple intelligence approaches in school is that you may come to regard intellectual ability more broadly. So, drawing a picture, composing, or listening to music, watching a performance, and these activities can be a vital door, an opening to learning, as important as writing and mathematics. So, you see what I'm saying here. So, if we look at the slide, you'll see that how many we have at the moment? There are 8. However, there are 12 intelligences, but 8 are the standard intelligences that we always speak about when we are talking about schools or the classrooms. So if you see linguistic intelligence, now linguistic intelligence is where the students automatically in the long run excels with words and has the ability to write poetry, can become a poet or writer. So writing, or let's say language, appeals to that learner. Then you have visual or spatial intelligence, someone who excels with shapes and designs, graphics, visualization, and the later years they can choose to become a designer or engineer perhaps. Then you have the musical intelligence, and musical intelligence, a student excels in performing or even composing musical pieces. Therefore, one can think of becoming a singer, can you know take up music as a career, and can do lot of composition. Then interpersonal, well, interpersonal and intrapersonal, often there is a confusion. So inter is all about in between, like people to people, whereas intra is about the self, to be able to go within. So the people with interpersonal skills, what they have the ability to organize people, to bring people together. They can organize the group activities. They have this leadership qualities inbuilt, and they have the social skills. They can use their social skills very well, and they are very good negotiators. They can motivate people. Now, intra on the other side, I have also noticed, even in adults, of definitely you will see it in with young learners or high young learners, as well as with adolescents, as well as with adult learners. Well, adults are more vocal about it. So there have been occasions where somebody, trainee would come up and say that, June, I know we have to work in groups, and that's for our own good, because this is something we need to practice in the class. However, I prefer to work all by myself. You have to understand this. I mean, that's how I can do it better. So whatever work you're assigning as groups, I can do it even better if you allow me to do it separately. Now, I had to respect his, his decision or whatever he had to say. At the same time, I would also notice that in the group, a particular adult would really not, would participate, but not as actively as how others would do. So intrapersonal individual, they have this ability to really to know and fathom their inner feelings. Okay, they have this self-realization and to know about oneself. So usually in the long run, they are very good philosophers.
Just like Swami Vivekananda, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, he's huge. Also in other fields of of work, if you give them their alone time, they know what they are good at and how exactly they want to deliver, what is it that they want to focus at. They know that very well. Then coming to logical intelligences, it is about individuals who excels in maths, and it's all about logical thinking as well, not just about the numbers, but logical thinking, right? It's very logical,
Yes.
very practical, right? There's no fancy imaginations there, right? So yeah, of course, we can think of the one who people who work with numbers, so chartered accountants, the one who are working at the bank, right? Then you have this kinesthetic intelligence. So these individuals are very good and they excel with bodily movement. They're very comfortable with their body. If I say they're very comfortable with their body and they like to move around. So they are the ones, as you mentioned, that some students are so interested in sports. They want to get into sports. Yes, because they want to be active. They want to move around. They want to be on the go, okay, most of the time. So they are the ones who would love to go get into sports or any other form of physical activities. Like you ask them to dance, they would love to dance. You ask them to quickly play a short game, they would love to do that. And any body movements, like a TPR activity, like a total physical response, they really respond well with total physical response activity. And then we have the naturalistic. Okay, naturalistic is someone who has this, natural affinity, not just for the nature, but for the animals. Okay, and they love to be within this nature. They love to be in the natural setup. Our late Rabindranath Tagore, he was actually a hardcore naturalist. Um, I'm not sure if you've heard of this place called Shantiniketan in West Bengal,
Yes,
right?
I do know
You've heard
that.
of Rabindranath, yeah.
Yeah, a
So when
wonderful
you
place.
visit to Shantiniketan, yes, where he lived, you would see that the university that that which he had built, and then also all the parks and everything, the way the setup is done, is to give the learners the freedom to be with the nature, number one, to connect with the nature. So even if you don't have this naturalistic intelligence, Shantiniketan is a place, and there, the mode of teaching, they believe that you must be in the nature. Doesn't matter whether you have that intelligence or not, but if you are given enough opportunity to be a part of the nature and to observe nature, because all that we are learning, it's all around us. If you listen to the birds humming, and so you can see that how musical it is, right?
Yes,
You look at the plants and you have a close observation, you would see the movement of the plants, the smell. You can utilize all your senses, and so much of thoughts come to your mind that how everything is happening. Okay, everything is happening by itself. So you see science around you, you see art around you. So science, art, as well as you can get philosophical music, everything is there in the nature, isn't it?
yes.
So that is that. So the whole idea is the teacher to incorporate all these intelligences in the classroom. Now, you don't have to incorporate everything together one day. That is not the idea. The idea is that whatever lesson you're planning, one or two activities you can always cater to these intelligences. You may choose what is it that you want to do. So you will have learners, as you said, who they naturally they are good with words. Now the ones who are naturally good with words, definitely you will give them a task for them to use the linguistic intelligence, simultaneously keep another activity which will require visual and spatial intelligence, and maybe that student lacks there. However, there will be someone else with the visual and spatial intelligence. You can group them. Okay, you can buddy them up, and they can always help each other at the same time. In the group also, when you're giving them a task, people with different intelligences can, they can work together, and they can share their ideas, and they can help one another. So this is the whole idea behind the multiple intelligences. So I hope I was clear for that.
Well, that was
Any
a
more
very
questions?
comprehensive discussion about multiple intelligences. Now I understand why people say if Sachin Tendulkar would have been forced to study hard, we would not have got the god of cricket.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's sad to see that sometimes when a child is not scoring so well in academics, it's considered that, oh, maybe he's not intelligent, which is so untrue. You will be surprised to see that the child is excelling in some other field, and it has to be. It has to
Yes,
be. The only thing is that you have to give that learner enough opportunity, uh, to be able to come out with this, with his or her innate potential. That is the reason why when you are teaching something, you must incorporate activities so that they are learning it better and faster, um, and they are at ease. So if I have this visual and spatial intelligence within me, and all my teacher does is focusing on linguistic intelligence, and every day my teacher is giving me tasks to write and write and write after pages, or my teacher focuses on, let's say, uh, that not much into inter, but asking me to only think
think
within
about. Yes,
myself and to work by myself, yeah, and not really pairing me up, or not really uh, puts me into the group. So naturally that the learner will suffer, and you will never know. You as a teacher will also not come to know that this learner has immense potential. The only thing is that we as a teacher will have to discover which intelligence he or she is comfortable with. So let me keep an activity. Let them do an activity using certain intelligences where, as a teacher, as a facilitator, I can fathom
Yes.
what is helping them better.
That was a great discussion, June. I will definitely
Yeah,
incorporate
even I thought so.
activities in my classroom to bring out the best of my learners. I have already alarms in my
Absolutely, and
mind.
all the best for that.
Yes, I have
Yes.
alarms in my mind. Why don't we
Okay.
combine the Bloom's taxonomy and multiple intelligence and create personalized lesson plans for different kinds of learners? Well, that we'll discuss in the next video.
Yes, it sounds interesting and sounds fantastic. So, what we can do is my suggestion would be definitely we can look into an example which will have Bloom taxonomy so that our viewers also get a clear idea how you're incorporating Bloom taxonomy when you're focusing on Bloom
Yes.
taxonomy, and then how to incorporate multiple intelligence when you are focusing on multiple intelligences only. So when these two concepts are clear, it's not very difficult to actually amalgamate both. It happens automatically.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a great idea, and we can try that for the next video.
Yeah, sure. We'll combine these two and create when give an example to our viewers how to combine these two.
Yes, absolutely.
All right then. See you in the next
Okay,
video.
so absolutely, we will see again to all viewers, and I'll see you in the next video. And viewers, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video on multiple intelligences and all the information shared were really useful to you. You could really comprehend it well. And if you've liked it, so please don't forget to give a like to our video. If you have not subscribed it, please do subscribe our channel and don't forget to click on the bell button. And thank you for all the love that you're giving to us so that we are making more and more videos. We're coming up with topics and we really look forward to make more videos in the future. So thank you, Fanny. Thank you, everybody. Wish you all luck.